Hello everyone and welcome back to UnWine with Janet. Now guess what I'll be making for you today? The healthier version of a pumpkin muffin. And I know it's not Thanksgiving, but I enjoy pumpkin all year round. Now this is going to be a muffin that you can have and you don't have to feel guilty about eating too much of it. So come let me show you how we do it. For this extremely healthy pumpkin muffin, you're going to need almond milk, monkfruit sugar, white whole wheat flour, almond flour, unsweetened applesauce, some pureed pumpkin, some vanilla extract and maple syrup, baking powder, baking soda, some ginger and nutmeg and ground cloves, walnuts, a little bit of salt, one whole egg, some ground cinnamon, and that's your monk fruit sugar. Okay, so now that we're through the most difficult part of it, the collecting of the ingredients and the measuring of them, this is the easiest part. All you have to do first is to put all your dry ingredients into one bowl and properly combine them. Now if you have a sieve, in Jamaica we call it a strainer, if you have one of those, then you could easily just put all your ingredients in and sieve that into the bowl right there, and then everything is evenly distributed. But in this case I didn't, so I'm doing it the harder way. I'm putting everything separately and then I'm going to thoroughly mix it with a spoon to make sure that everything is fully incorporated. So one of the reasons why I am preparing this muffin is just to show you that you can still eat healthy. Even though it might be a little bit sweet, it's very, very healthy. So you don't have to rob yourself of, oh my gosh, this is going to be too much calories or I can't eat it. Yes, you can, because there's always substitute, okay? So now let's put all the wet ingredients together, and I'm just going to do the same thing like I did. Put everything in the bowl once, and then we're going to properly mix it. Again, very simple and easy, and as I try to do on my channel, I try to make sure that everything that I prepare is very easy. Now the egg yolk I separated from the egg white because I'm going to be mixing the egg white later on. And this is your unsweetened applesauce. Everything goes in once, and then don't worry because all your measurements plus the ingredients will be in the comment box below, so I got you covered. For this pumpkin muffin recipe, I'm using almond milk, but if you have any other low calorie milk, at home in the refrigerator or in your pantry, feel free to use it, because in the end the texture and the taste will still be the same. Now if you follow this recipe down to the T with the exact measurements that I'm going to put in the description, this will yield you 1 dozen exactly. If you want to double up on it, you can. An important thing to note when you're mixing is to make sure that you don't have any lumps. So the spoon wasn't working for me, so that is why I had to resort to the whisk. Now the whisk made it nice and smooth, so always make sure that in the end there's no lump. Just like that. Okay, so we have one final step before we put everything together. We're going to whisk the egg white because we had separated it earlier. Now I'm doing it the hard way. You don't have to use the fork. You can use your whisk or your mixer. If you have a handheld mixer, then it's going to be easier for you that way. But I like to do manual things. So it's take a little bit longer with the fork, but you still get the same effect, just like that. Now after that is done, now is the time when we're going to put everything together. Now what I normally do is to make a little well or a little hole in the dry mixture. And in this case, because the measurements are accurate, you can pour everything in all at once. You don't have to worry that it's going to be too runny or anything like that. Once your measurements are exact, then everything will turn out perfectly. And then we're just going to cut and fold and cut and fold until everything is fully combined. Now after you're through mixing everything and you have a nice smooth consistency and there are no form of lumps, that's when you're going to add your egg white. And when you add your egg white, you want to fold it in. So you're going to cut and fold your egg white in. Now the egg white is going to give it that extra moisture, because these muffins, let me tell you, no matter how long you keep them and no matter how long they're in the freezer, because normally I keep mine in the freezer for at least a week, when they're thawed out and warmed, they are still as delicious. So the egg white plays an important part. Don't forget this step. And also you can add anything else. If you want to add raisin or nuts inside the mixture, you can. So feel free to play around with it. And your final step now is just getting them ready to go into the oven. Now I'm using a few of the silicone cups, but if you don't have any of these, or if you're using the paper ones, you don't have to spray. But in case you're just going to use your muffin tin, then you want to spray. Make sure you spray so it's not stuck to it in the end. So after you're through traying them up, the walnuts is the last step. So if your walnuts are a little bit too big, or whatever nuts you're going to use, you can just crush them a little bit finer and then you can sprinkle them on top. So what I normally do, I would sprinkle a few with the nuts and then I would leave some without the nuts. So you're going to preheat your oven to 375 degrees, and these muffin bakes between 20 to 25 minutes. Or if you want, use the old school way. You use a toothpick, you stick it in, and if it comes out dry, then that means your muffins are done. Just a little side note for you, if you should follow the recipe just as how it is in the description, it will take about 22 minutes. Now this is what they looked like. At 22 minutes, they were soft, moist, and they lasted over a week in my freezer. So happy baking.